KonekoKitten got exposed for some pretty awful things, and it looks like he's leaving the internet. NickIsNotGreen has been facing some backlash over his recent Supermega coverage. Rosanna Pansino has apologized to MrBeast, and then for some reason retracted that apology. So yeah, we got some interesting topics to talk about in today's video, and honestly, a lot of this I'm very shocked to hear. But to start off, I thought I would just kind of point out that MatPat and coryXkenshin were in the new FNAF movie. It wasn't a great movie in my personal opinion, and apparently Jacksepticeye's and people were not happy that Jack had that opinion. But yeah, it was just kind of cool to see MatPat get like a cameo in a movie, and he even said the thing.
You do realize that lunch is the most important meal of the day.
Thought it was breakfast.
Some people say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
As you know, recently I've been covering this whole Rosanna Pansino situation with MrBeast, where she basically claimed that MrBeast had like shafted her out of a video, made her look worse than she was, and kind of edited the video in a deceptive way to make it look like other YouTubers like Logan Paul had placed further in his hide and seek video than they actually did. Now, at first, I mean, a lot of people were on her side. I mean, this is something that MrBeast absolutely should be called out for. However, the way that she went about it just kind of seemed like she was clout chasing. MrBeast would reach out to her to attempt to reach some sort of resolution, and she would claim that this whole thing was somehow traumatizing to her, and it really seemed like she was trying to make it as if MrBeast had like done something like genuinely horrible, not just editing her out of a hide and seek video. And so after she faced a bit of backlash for the way that she was handling this, it seemed like she had decided to put this annoying, stupid, petty drama behind her, and she would post this on Twitter. I would like to apologize to MrBeast. I should have expressed my feelings privately and handled things directly. I will be removing all the posts where I talk about Creator Games and Jimmy. I will be honest in that the thousands of death threats I've received today are a contributing fact, but I do also sincerely hear the feedback from so many of you, which, I mean, at the end, it kind of seems like she's playing victim there. I mean, I'm not gonna say she didn't receive death threats. She probably did, but like at the end of the day, it's kind of her fault. I mean, she tried to cancel one of the largest YouTubers over something extremely petty. Anyway, for some reason, like a couple days later, she had a change of heart and she would post this. I redact my apology to MrBeast of not settling things privately. Based on recent new information and developments behind the scenes, I have learned that certain issues will never be handled privately. They will only be dismissed or covered up privately. Moving forward, I do promise not to drop an ill-timed music video, completely poor timing, my bad, and will word things more clearly in the future. Never my intention to downplay anyone's experiences. I'm just learning to find my own voice and to be a safe space for others. And then everyone just like clowned on her again, because she's doing the whole thing where she's over dramatizing this. Like, oh my god, you got cut out of a hide and seek video. You were made to look slightly worse, which like no one but 5-year-olds actually watches those videos. It's not like you were gonna get into the Olympics because of this video, because of your placement. And so like most people just clowned on her and she deleted that post. So like, I don't know what the heck is going on with this lady, but I'm hoping that she just ends this stupid drama here, because like at this point I'm over it, and everyone's over it. It's extremely dumb, and I don't know what she expected to happen here. Now for our main story, KonekoKitten, who is a very large Roblox commentary YouTuber, has recently been exposed by the YouTuber Narpy for lots of reprehensible things. In this video, Narpy basically claims that when he was 17 and Koneko was 20, that they had a sexual relationship, and he shows all these chat logs where Koneko is being very explicit, and it looks like nude photos were sent between Narpy and Koneko. And a few years ago, Koneko would release a document basically claiming that Narpy had forced him into this relationship and was manipulative and abusive towards him. And in this video, Narpy would admit that yeah, he was in fact abusive abusive and manipulative towards Koneko. However, this relationship was not one-sided, like Koneko was claiming, and Koneko pretty much lied in this document to make himself look better. And he would even fill this document with false allegations that Koneko knew were false to make Narpy look even worse. And he'd basically painted this kid who was 17 and who was a minor when all these allegations or alleged things supposedly happened as some sort of predator. And these allegations would end up with Narpy getting doxxed and swatted. People would harass them because, I mean, these are very serious claims that can ruin someone's life. And he would bring up yet another instance of Koneko kind of having like a weird relationship with a 16-year-old when he was 20. Now, Koneko at the time had claimed that nothing sexual had happened within this relationship and that they kind of just talked about like cats and stuff. Now, before releasing this video, Narpy would get into contact with Koneko and let him know that he planned to come back and make a video discussing all of this. And in these messages, Koneko seemed genuinely apologetic. He admitted his faults, and Narpy just kind of asked him to like make a video clearing the air, clearing his name of all this. And it seemed like Koneko didn't really want to do that for some reason. However, once Koneko got the word that Narpy was going to be releasing his video soon, he would then release a statement on his Discord and apologize on his Twitter, and finally, after all these years, publicly admit to his wrongdoings. And Narpy would criticize Koneko for doing this because it kind of seemed like this was damage control. And after that video came out, Koneko would release an apology video that he now deleted. But in this apology video, Koneko would basically claim that back then he was very degenerate. He was a loser, and that he didn't really think that there was anything wrong with this relationship as it was only like 3 years, and that in his state this relationship was completely legal. However, that now morally he doesn't agree with this and he thinks it was wrong to have this relationship.
Considering the age difference was barely above 2 years, I didn't really see much of a moral issue with it back then. Before I go into talking about our relationship, I do need to talk about context, which is the document that I made. A few years ago, back in January 2021, I released a lengthy Google document detailing various amounts of abusive behavior that Max was displaying towards several friends and me at the time. And at the time that I wrote this document, it was the climax of our relationship, when he was being extremely abusive towards me, and I wrote that really purely as a way to try to exit the situation that was ongoing with him. I obviously could have handled this in a much different and better way than a manipulative one-sided document, and I do apologize for doing that. This document is very manipulative, and it paints our entire relationship to be as if it's one-sided, or that I never gave in or was complicit with this relationship whatsoever. I made several excuses for my actions in this relationship and made it seem like it was not a mutual relationship between the two of us. And for that, I am sorry for that. I did not once call him a groomer or a pedophile inside of this document, but I did include old allegations, which very much could have made it seem like that was the case. I personally knew these allegations inside of the document to be false, and they were included inside of it to point out manipulative behavior that he had done towards other people. Obviously, the wording inside of the document could be done a lot better, and I could totally understand how it looks like and how it would totally direct people to believe otherwise.
And he says that he's genuinely sorry for the way he lied and manipulated in his document on Narpy. And he goes on to say that he's been working on himself, he's been getting better, and that he's pretty much going to take a step away from the internet and his channel. However, as I said, he deleted that video and would post this on his community tab. I've chosen to remove my response video as I recognize that it downplays myself pretty significantly. I've watched it over and over again, and there are times even there that I was downplaying myself. There's so much worse that I did with Narpy, and I seriously downplayed that. I will not resurface online ever on here, and do not feel I deserve a platform online. I can say I've changed all I want, but I believe it shows a pretty bad pattern of dishonest, manipulative behavior from me. I really need to figure out why I'm like this before I ever really step online again. I don't do weird shit anymore, and I'm glad I can own that. I've long stopped being like that, but I was so degenerate and deplorable years ago with my actions that I do not believe it personally justifies me posting online. I'm going to remain offline for an indefinite amount of time. I will not return here. My next focus from here is figuring out why I'm like this, because it isn't healthy for me whatsoever. The way I socialize isn't healthy, and it's not healthy for me to be here while I clearly have problems to still assess. Now, honestly, I'm just kind of shocked to hear that Koneko had done this type of stuff. I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna say that he's as bad as someone like EDP or something like that, but the fact that he lied about this kid and claimed that he was manipulated into this relationship, I mean, it really just shows that he knew something was wrong here. And instead of owning up to it back then, he decided to throw someone under the bus. And so I really hope that Narpy is able to recover their reputation in some way, because it's genuinely messed up what Koneko did. And honestly, I agree with Koneko. He does not deserve a platform after doing something like that. Now, our next story is about the commentary YouTuber NickIsNotGreen. He has been facing a lot of criticism recently from people like Destiny and Turkey Tom due to his coverage on the Supermega situation. Just to kind of give a brief TLDR, an ex-employee of Supermega, Lex, had came out and claimed that another member of Supermega had sexually assaulted her. And she claims that the Supermega guys didn't take it very seriously. Now, some people have claimed that she's lying or she's being overly dramatic. I'm not going to claim anything like that, because I don't think that that's necessarily right to do when someone claims that they've been assaulted like that. However, she has been proven to have lied or misinterpreted things and bringing up things that had no relevance in her video. Like, she would bring up a friend of Supermega's who had taken their own life, and she was claiming that they made fun of him for taking his life. However, Supermega in their response video claimed that this never happened, and this is like a blatant lie. And then, of course, there was Layden, another ex-Supermega employee, who was going around just like really pushing this whole cancel Supermega campaign. And it was proven that he pretty much just lied about everything and was not trustworthy whatsoever. And NickIsNotGreen would basically just make an extremely biased video where he seems to celebrate Supermega getting canceled.
We can keep watching it. I don't think anyone minds letting this loop on repeat. We could just let this go. If you want me to do this for the rest of the video, I could.
And he would even say, oh, well, this is about my friend. Like, of course, I'm not gonna do proper research here. And overall, his video was just really bad. And he played a huge part in damaging Supermega's reputation. And as he faced his backlash, he would attempt to ignore it for quite a while. And then he would release a response video, which was honestly really bad because he just kind of doubles down on a lot of things. He does admit fault on some things, but for the most part, it's just kind of him defending himself, claiming that, oh, you know, I'm just reporting the news, like, you know, which is like the classic Keemstar excuse. Oh, I didn't call this old man a pedo. I was just reporting the news, guys. And that video just faced a ton of backlash, and he deleted it. And then he'd make another response in another video, which his other response was, you know, a bit better than the last one. And I mean, his sub count is negative at the moment. And like, the guy just comes off as extremely disingenuous. I will say, people make mistakes, and if he like keeps his word and like doesn't do this in the future and genuinely changes and genuinely apologizes, then I hope he's able to earn back some of the goodwill he once had. However, he doesn't really look that good in this situation, honestly, and people are rightfully criticizing him. Anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this video, well, you can watch this video here where I talk about more topics like this.